I do believe we have some additional comments for citizen requests. The first citizen request is from Mark Jones. Good to see you again. Come on, yeah, please come forward up to 3 minutes, followed by Carolyn Harrison.
According to UN statistics, America is the world's largest police state. We have more people in prison numerically than any other country in the world. We have more people in prison per capita than any other country in the world. Most of these people in American prisons are there for victimless drug war crimes. According to the ACLU, 50% of the arrests in America are for marijuana crimes. According to the U.S. Bureau of Prison Statistics, 51% of the people in federal prisons are there for victimless drug war crimes. Drug abuse is not a criminal problem. Drug abuse is a medical problem. We don't address tobacco smokers or tobacco addicts. We don't arrest caffeine addicts, and we don't arrest people with alcohol problems. And we shouldn't be arresting pot smokers and people with drug problems. We should let them get medical treatment instead of sending them to prisons. Phoenix doesn't need to hire 100 new cops who will arrest mostly people for victimless marijuana crimes. In fact, we should fire half the 3,000 Phoenix cops who arrest people for pot smokers and have the remaining half concentrate on people committing real crimes like robbers, burglars, rapers, and murderists.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jones. Ms. Carolyn Harrison, we should provide testimony before this council, followed by Jeff Woods. Ms. Harrison? Is she still here? All right, I'm going to hold out her card in case she comes back. Mr. Woods, followed by Day Dawson.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, City Council. Yesterday, the City of Baltimore agreed to pay the family of Freddie Gray $6.4 million in damages for his wrongful death. In 2008, my friend J.D. Lennox lost his life to the police. He was a father, a brother, and a very good man. He was unarmed and black. His family was awarded $2.1 million in the settlement. In his case, the man who took his life had actually killed 3 times before. It wasn't until the 4th time that he lost his job. He never went to trial or never faced any consequences for that. Right now, our city is facing these types of allegations and potential settlements. In fact, over the last year, at least 4 cases are like this. Edgardo Figueroa, his family is suing the city of Phoenix for his death while in custody. The amount that they are looking for is $7 million. The family claims his death was caused by head trauma and asphyxiation at the hands of Phoenix police on Christmas Day, 2014. The family of Ballantine Mbegdu filed an $8 million wrongful death suit against the city of Phoenix police for using a stun gun, using a chokehold, and smashing his head on the ground, causing him to lose his life. Another case, the family of Remain Brisbane is seeking $65 million in damages for the unarmed family member being shot in the back by Officer Mark Ryan, December 2nd, 2014. There's also Michelle Cousseau. In February, her mother filed a $7 million lawsuit for her child losing her life to gunfire from the Phoenix police while holding a hammer. According to the Arizona Republic analysis, there have been 1,675 claims filed against Phoenix PD from September 2009 to September 2014. The payout over the same period of time was $17.2 million. After these pending cases that I just discussed, that number should drastically increase. What we need is body cameras, Citizens Review Board, Department of Justice oversight, use of restraint training, better training overall for our police officers, and an early intervention system to get people who may be at risk of hurting others off the streets. We need to get things right with our department before we hire another officer. Our city cannot mentally, emotionally, or financially afford more tragedies like Remain Brisbane, Danny Rodriguez, Michelle Cousseau, or Ballantine Mbegdu. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Woods. Day Dawson is next. After that will be Noel Rosen.
Hello again. I'm sorry that I had to leave yesterday early. I feel that what happened here yesterday with the funding was important, but I wasn't able to stay to the end. So Sal DiCiccio yesterday opened the meeting talking about supporting police. He made a few reactionary statements about activists who spoke about police accountability at the end of last week's council meeting. I'm guessing that he opened yesterday's meeting because he threw an enormous and dramatic tantrum in the wake of not getting his way on September 2nd. With $16 million coming annually into the Phoenix Police Force, I agree with Mr. DiCiccio. Give responsible, long-standing officers wage increases. By all means, everyone should be gainfully employed. For myself, I support the immediate demilitarization of our peace officers. However, since militarization is obvious in our police force, give the accountability to chain of command. Give them responsibility with promotion. If an officer of lower rank commits a questionable act or an undeniable act of violence, hold his superiors accountable right alongside him, just like we do in the military. It seems to me that roughly $4 million that it will cost to install body cameras, $3.5 million on our police, that would be a no-brainer with this $16 million. But just in case, please spend the money to install body cameras on our police officers for the protection of everyone. Dash cameras on police vehicles in this era. Can we please bring our police up to speed with all this incredible futuristic planning that we're making for this future? I was shocked when I found out that our police cars don't have dash cameras. So use these funds to drag Arizona out of the era of slave patrols, because that's where our police force was founded. And this Old West mentality. Bring our officers, our peace officers, into this amazing age of information. Give them community and communication, not quotas. Arizona is a militarized police state. We live here. We know what it is. We lead the nation in deaths at the hands of police over the last several years. We all desperately need this change. Please, use these funds to better train the police officers that we have. Let their training shift so that our police officers don't receive training that puts them consistently in kill or be killed situations, so that when they come out and hit the beat, they expect every man, woman, and child to be out for their lives. We need a lot more community. I've been really gentle and delicate every time that I've come in here. In the last year, I've seen deaths in my neighborhood. I've seen 2 neighbors die in the last year. We really, really, really need more community interaction from our police. No more friends, no more neighbors. Please, thank you. We need you. We count on you.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Dawson, for that testimony. At the beginning of citizen requests, not all council members here, I did ask our city attorney to review for both the benefit of the public and the members of this council when it's appropriate for city council members to respond to criticism coming from the public. Obviously, normally we can't respond in any substantive way. We can only direct the city manager to put something on the agenda. You can respond to direct criticism. Councilman DiCiccio, she did impugn your motives as to why you spoke yesterday, so if you wanted to just very quickly explain why you yesterday made a statement of support for the police. You know, we're in a gray area here, certainly, but because she did that, I would certainly allow that.
Well, I could explain, but you had to be at the meeting. And the bottom line is, I believe our police officers are underpaid. They deserve to pay a raise. It was as simple as that. And the other part too, I read the City of Phoenix attorney's opinion on that. And if I could, I don't think this is beyond that. I did talk to the AG's office. Their office said that the whole part about criticism is not narrowly defined as our city attorney says that it is. So just letting you know.
All right, thank you very much. Mr. Rosen, or Miss Rosen, Noel Rosen? Mr. Rosen, then followed by Joanne Scott Woods, and then Ms. Post. Mr. Rosen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. I want to let you know all of the names that they're talking about, that they were rambling on about who was killed, the civilians are killed. How about 9 cops in the last 2 weeks in this country? Somebody has to stand up in support of the police, and I got to tell you, I support the cops. They literally risked their lives to protect our community. And sometimes they give their lives in the service of this community. One cop being killed is one too many. It's about time somebody stood up in support of the police. And at the last city council meeting, I want to thank you, Councilman DeCiccio. You stood up for the cops when it wasn't popular. Mr. Mayor, you didn't. You let the narrative go on from the Black Lives Matter movement. Okay? This is not the kind of thing we need in our community. On September 26th, we are going to be standing up for the police in this city and across the nation. From 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. at Phoenix Police Headquarters, and then we're going to march to the Fallen Peace Officers Memorial. I want to thank every cop, every police officer. They're here. I thank you for your service. There are people that support you and are willing to stand up for you and have your 6. You can better believe I'm going to be out there time after time after time to support the police. Councilman Gates, I live in your district. I'd like to see your support for the police. I'd like to see you out there with us, because we have to take our community back. And when those officers take that uniform off at the end of their shift, they're also citizens. They have rights, and they have the right to go home to see their families. They have a right to be safe as well. I support the cops. I'm not ashamed of it. Councilman DeCiccio, I know you do. And I cannot tell you how much I am grateful for you standing up, because it wasn't the popular narrative. And they had no right to shut you down. Shame on you, Mayor. You should not have shut him down. He had a right to speak, just like every other citizen. So I'm going to be out there supporting our men and women in blue. That's the right thing to do, because when you call 911, the police are the ones that respond. For those that are against the police, I've got one thing to say to you. If you don't like the police, don't call 911, call criminal instead. Let's see how far that gets you. I support the blue 100%.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rosen, for your testimony. The reason for what occurred last week is because it's the opinion of our city attorney, and I think it's the opinion of every city attorney who represents public law and public bodies, that during the citizen request portion of it, because it's non-agendized items, the role of city council is to listen to the public. We can ask the city manager to put an item on an agenda, but otherwise you get to a situation where you have a quorum of the council and then we start subtly to discuss items. That would be a violation of the open meeting law. And so I apologize for the misinterpretation that a lack of a response indicated any substantive position by me or any member of the council. Members of the council are not allowed to substantively respond to citizen requests, otherwise it's in violation of the open meeting law. Councilman Gates, I don't know if he directly mentioned you as well. I don't know if you want an opportunity to say anything briefly on the issue. I do know Councilman Gates is a strong supporter of law enforcement, and just keep it as short as possible and only in direct response to what he directed your way.
Yep. No, Mr. Rosen, I appreciate the comments, appreciate you coming out, and would love to see you at one of the upcoming Coffees with a Cop that I regularly attend in District 3, and love the opportunity to get together with our members of the community and our officers who do a great job for us. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, thank you. The next speaker will be Joanne Scott Woods, Ms. Woods, and then followed by Diane Post.
My name is Joanne Scott Woods. I would like to respond first by saying in 2014, 25 officers were killed nationally and 809 civilians. And this month, last month, 106 in 2015. Black Lives Matter is anti-police brutality, not anti-police. Although Arizona is 15th in population, it ranks 4th among the highest in the nation for death by cops, according to the Tucson Sentinel on May 2nd, 2015. When it comes to the rate of police-related killings per capita, quote, the West is the worst, unquote, according to Jonathan Thompson of High Country News on December 12, 2014, as, quote, Westerners are almost twice as likely as Americans as a whole to suffer from, quote, arrest-related death, unquote, as the Department of Justice terms it, or fatal injury due to, quote, legal intervention, unquote, per the nomenclature of the Center for Disease Control, unquote. According to Hank Johnson, congressman from Georgia, in an interview with Sean Hannity on April 15, 2015, in the DOJ figures for 2013, quote, black males are 4 times as likely as their white counterparts to be killed by a police officer, unquote. On April 13, 2015, Representative Johnson, who considers himself the legislative arm of the Black Lives Matter movement, took the House floor to give his thoughts on the previous week's case in North Charleston, South Carolina, in which a white police officer was charged with the murder of a fleeing black man. In his address, he said, quote, I would like unanimous consent to enter this list of people killed by the police into the record so my colleagues will no longer ignore this national crisis. Remain Brisbane of Phoenix was included. Let's come together as a community and make reforms necessary to prevent another listing of another Remain Brisbane.
Thank you very much. Ms. Post?
Thank you, Mayor and members of the council. First, I'd like to mention Prop 104, which has been mentioned here today. I was quite shocked to find out that after it passed, that money was to be taken from that to hire more police officers. I consider that a classic bait and switch because I read all the materials about 104 and nowhere in there did it say anything about hiring more cops with that money. Had it said that, I wouldn't have voted for it. And the second part of that is we don't need more cops. We need to have accountability for the ones that we have. We need dash cams, we need body cams, we need training, especially for responding to SMIs. Perhaps we need raises, I don't know. But what I do know is we don't need 125 more cops who are not trained and who are not dealing appropriately with the community. The second thing that really shocked me was when I looked at the agenda for today. And I saw, as the person giving your invocation, the chaplain from the employees for the City of Phoenix for Christ. I have spoken here before about this issue, and I have given the invocation here. Since the City of Greece decision at the Supreme Court, you all know, because you've all gotten letters from me and from the Freedom from Religion Foundation, that what you have to do is allow everyone to speak from every different religion or people who have no religion. What you cannot do, even under the City of Greece ruling, is have employees give the invocation, because it is the quintessential problem of a government supporting one kind of religion over another kind of religion. So while I am asking is that, number one, we do not spend Prop 104 money for things other than what it was intended and what it was announced for in all the advertising. Number two, we do not use that money to hire more police officers, but to deal properly with the ones that we already have. And number three, that you follow the law from the Supreme Court in who it is that can give your invocations and no longer have City of Phoenix employees give them. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Post. Mr. Manager, maybe something you could grab Ms. Post and provide correct information as to relates Prop 104 and police hiring. And then on the issue of the city employee giving invocation, maybe we could deal with that at a future executive session since it is an important legal issue. Okay, I have no other cards for citizen requests. Reverend Walton, I know my understanding is that you wanted a second bite of the apple. We do, under our policy, we allow one bite at the apple each time. Each person has an opportunity to speak up to 3 minutes of citizen request. If I allow for, I will be, out of respect for my colleagues, we will be here a long period of time. Obviously, you have most of us on speed dial. So call us anytime if you want to talk more about what was discussed here today. Thank you very much, Reverend Walton.